Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Welcome if you're currently here in the live chat. Today we do have quite an interesting video, more up to date, arguably speaking. You probably could tell by the title of the video. We're actually taking a look at Google Maps of the year 2022 from the looks of it. Now, this is the thing. We've looked at maps in the past. It says 2022 or 2023, but the actual satellite imagery is of 2019 only. We've seen that, right? But it's not always that clear. Though, when looking at this map, which I'm going to present to you later on in this video, it is of 2022 because there are things present which have never been present before from the maps we've taken a look at, okay? If anyone is confused, okay, let me explain it. So Google Earth, what we've been using all this time. Yes, there's Google Earth Pro that dates to 2021, which is a little bit more recent, but there's still limitations of that. Not much has actually visually changed from 2019 to 2021. I believe Brenner's trailer was still as it was and not burnt down. Dylan's farm area, there was no trailers about at that time. So it was just more practical using the 2019 imagery satellite footage. And then we always used it as like a storyboard to map points out and everything. This new map thing we're going to be taking a look at is even more up to date because there are things present, which is all good, right? You know, relevant to Dylan, such as the farm area. And what I want to do, maybe in a future video, if this video works out well and people like the concept of it, I might try and take still shots and like do a comparison before and after 2019 to 2022 maybe as like a slideshow. Not done something like that for a while, but it is doable. Actually, I did do Lucin before and after, I guess, throughout the Dylan Rounds case, but that was more on-ground footage in a way. But I guess we can do the same with the maps as well, how that's changed with time. The reason why I've not used it before is because one, I forgot, okay? And two, it just isn't practical, this map thing, if it came to a narration story video. You see me, how I'm moving the camera about quick. Indiana gets a little bit sick, drowsy, all over the place, right? Because I'm flipping the camera left, right, and center. We're flipping it to ground level, we're looking down. It's got that like 3D effect. The tools and options are flexible and lenient. The image quality is pretty good. And a few people over time have actually acknowledged it and said, why is my quality better than theirs? It might be because I'm using it on mobile, maybe. That has a difference, maybe. But it's just more responsive. It loads better. It processes quicker. The maps aren't as pixelated. It doesn't take as long to depixelate, if that's a word, right? With this newish map thing, the image quality isn't great, okay? But you can still make out the objects and everything. It does take a bit of time to load up, so that's why I've saved it for this video, I guess, because we're not doing some deep running, smooth flowing story, so that can be excused, and we can just take a look at this raw satellite imagery. As we do go along within it, you can share your thoughts, opinions, and reactions in the live chat. Let me know if you notice anything out of the ordinary, if anything stands out to you, right? And yeah, that's basically it for this video as we go along. I mean, what we can do to begin with is check some of the comments out of the previous video. Take in mind, if you haven't already watched the previous video covering the Dylan Rounds case, make sure to check it out so you're up to date and catched up on things. Link will be provided down below, pinned comment section, okay? And there is one comment by Weezer. Looks to be a very long one, so could take a bit of time, this video, but you know, is what it is. Read for it. And I think it's Weezer giving either updates or clearing some information up regarding certain key people tied within the Dylan Rounds case. Okay, so we've got all that sorted. Probably do that one first, then followed by the map stuff, and just take a look at it at a slow pace, right? And anything else to acknowledge? I guess the one thing that just randomly came to my head, what I've not done for a bit, because I only did like a couple of videos, is where I was on that field, not the one with the sheep, but the other field where the horses were, when I was just randomly walking around and I was like narrating in the video. I keep forgetting to do something like that. So when you do those type of videos, you got no cues, you got no prompts, you got no notes, you got nothing. You're just in the middle of a field, right, walking about. And I mean in real life, if you're wondering. There needs to be enough to talk about, right? And there was back then, with all the other messy stuff going on and like some drama. And whilst, you know, it's not always necessary to talk about that stuff because it was tied up with me at the time. I had to clear things and explain situations. So that's why there was a talking point. Whereas right now, not so much, which is a positive in a way. It seems to be happening all over the place elsewhere. Good behaviour last night in the chat, right? I mean, you know, credit to Tom Evans, Weezer, Wanda, Patsy, who are able, and I guess Linda and Christy as well, who are able to maintain focus in the case for this long and to be able to absorb the info. And the reason why I point those names out is because you see them in the chat, whereas, you know, sometimes I piss about as well, let's be honest, in the chat, just loosening up after doing all that deep video and talking. And so do other people as well. And yet some of those, you know, the Patsy, the Tom, they seem to maintain a level of focus, which is obviously all good. And it's good what they do, to be able to listen and be able to take it all in, because it is a bit deep and heavy at times, but there's no way around it, you know. But yeah, it's one of those things where, put that aside, this Dylan Rounds case, there is still stuff to look at. I've not, how should I word it? I've not been in too many situations where I've had to sit down and think long and hard of what to cover next, which is a good thing, right? If it's quite smooth, the flow, that's what you want. With the Kenny Veach case, there was quite a few times where it was like, what do I do? What do I cover? I don't know. And that's not always obviously the best thing, but you know, I'd say today was one of those days where it was like, right, let me just try and think of what to, you know, talk about. And that new map thing popped up. Well, it reminded me of it, and I thought, okay, we'll take a look at that. Is there any other background stuff to highlight, bring up? I think one person said they were on another channel and that other channel made a prat of themselves or something. I don't really know, to be honest, I didn't really bother looking. But you might get some people or some channels where they end up bringing up like information or theories, ideas which have been brought up in the past, and it's like, why are you going around in circles? I will be honest with you, okay? When I have been on other channels, put aside Lance Kelly, I'm not including him. When I've looked at the other channels, I've just found it really, how do you say it, dull and boring, okay? That's just my opinion, okay? It just felt so dull, boring, repetitive. You know, Pancake's channel where he does that voice change thing as the alien. That voice is actually more annoying than Bella V's, right? It's like, if you were locked up in a room and then you had to listen to that squeaky alien voice, it'd probably make you go crazy, especially if it's like for hours. I don't know how other people manage it, right? I don't know. I mean, his normal voice is okay, but just that alien one, it's, ugh. So it's funny in a way. Anything else? No, not really. I think we might as well just move on and get onto the comments of the last video. Answer any questions, of course, any new updates, information such as from Weezer, we'll see right now. Here we are, we're just set to newest comments, start from the bottom, work our way up. If we do come across wheezers, we'll read Weezer's comment last. Oh, that's even a tongue twister. Oh, whatever. Christy B, I love psychological analysis. That's good to know. It was one by Tom Evans. When you asked Candice if she would send Colton to Lucin by himself was a wee thought out question. Christy, I did not ask Candice anything, my dear. It was not me. I don't even know who Colton is. So to answer one indirect question, Colton. Who is Colton? Well, one of Dylan's brothers. I don't know how many brothers Dylan has, but Colton is one of them. And I believe Colton is younger than Dylan Rounds. Bob Farrell said possibly around the age of 17, okay? In recent time, Justin Rounds on the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook page did end up posting that video of Dylan on that tractor going backwards in circles, doing donuts, reverse drift. And the caption of it was how Justin said that Dylan was good at hiding stuff. That could be hiding objects that are broken, or maybe it could be a deeper reason. And Justin Rounds also said that Colton was good at keeping Dylan Rounds' secrets safe. Okay? So hopefully that clears that up there. But as for Christy asking that question, I did hear something brought up to Doug, who read it out, the question about Colton coming down to the farm to help assist. And Doug read it out as if it was a negative question or it was like a personal attack. That's kind of like how he read it out, in that tone, in a way. Candice Cooley, I believe, answered and said no, he's got his own busy farm work in Idaho. As for Justin, as for Larry Rounds, they have plans possibly down the line in the future to do with Dylan's farm. Who knows what that is? Tom Evans himself did highlight that it seems as if Justin and Larry want to get away from Candice Cooley, i.e. in distancing themselves with plans and ideas of what will happen down the line. I don't know why, but if you just think in general, who would you trust more, Candice Cooley in the Dylan Rounds case or Justin Rounds, who's made more contradictions, who's kind of switched and changed with information, who's been more inaccurate, who may have lied about the odd thing, right? And then maybe you can take it from there and get an idea. I mean, what I'd say with Justin Rounds is he doesn't look like the type of person to hide much, right? Maybe aside from the emotion, but he has to hold that back to try and stay strong. But, you look at his facial expressions, the way he talks, the way he mentions things. Just being honest, in my opinion, I've not really noticed many mistakes made by Justin in information being talked about. Sure, that early warning red flag in the past where Justin was threatened by Jim Brenner, and it's like, well, why did you not act more back then? That's really the only thing that's popped out to me. But relevant to the Dylan Rounds case, post disappearance of Dylan, ever since till now, Justin has been, somewhat accurate in what he's been talking about. He might have not said a whole lot, right? He may have not mentioned lots and lots because he's not been the vocal talking point in the case. It's been Candice Cooley, right? Though less mistakes made by Justin, which you need to acknowledge. Anyway, that aside, linking back to Christy. I did see Christy. Okay, Christy, if you're in chat right now or in the background, I did see your username and profile picture pop up in Doug's live stream interview with Candice Cooley. And the message thing, the question popped up on screen, bottom left corner of the screen of Doug's. Now, I don't have the clip right now to share. I don't know how easy it would be to get a hold of, but are we dealing with a fake account or not? Is there an imposter account of Christy B? I don't know. You couldn't really check the account either, unless you were Doug, who's the channel owner on his. I believe, I'll just say this, Christy, and let me know in the chat or somewhere else if this is correct. The only question I personally saw that popped up on screen on No Thanks channel by you was a question around the reward money, the 100k reward money. What's it going to be spent on, or how's it going to be used? Is it going to be used for equipment? And then I believe Candice Cooley or Doug responded and said, I don't think they approved that much of the comment question. Does that ring a bell, Christy? Because if not, it looks like there is a fake account of Christy B. So if that really is the case, everyone be on the lookout for the fake account, okay? I don't know why they'd be doing, like, faking Christy, because, like, Christy hasn't really been that verbal or really caused any trouble. She's been good person, so I don't know what's happening there. Has there ever been a fake Bob Farrell account? Maybe. Like, you might, it probably doesn't happen as much now, but you might get these like small, short-term, indirect attacks or concentrated points by people on some individuals, which doesn't make any sense. Yeah, weird. But yeah, just wanted to highlight that point, a little bit of awareness around that. Anything else? Linda, great video. There you go. Shout out to Linda. Glenn. Cleo. Did you say a break is in the works? A break occurs when there is absolutely no more material information or theories to discuss in a particular case. As for the Dylan Rounds one, it feels like virtually right on the edge, though. The odd few talking points do pop up from day to day. That's like what one is dealing with, day-to-day updates. If something does show up, it'll be covered, like today with that map. So you never know what happens tomorrow or what comes up or information. Time will tell, that's all. Patsy, title of Earthworm Infotainment doesn't interest me. I'll wait for the ref report. Shout out to Patsy. Christy, great video. Well, like Raf, thank you, very interesting. You're welcome. I thought I replied to Christy's comment. Maybe it was a different one earlier on. John Carter, another great video. Be glad to get all the answers from the case. Shout out to John, welcome. Smooth Fishing, shout out to Smooth Fishing, long time viewer still. Good person. Wanda the Panda in Uganda. Very interesting. Thought-provoking, and to the point, I agree 100% with all you said. You put in a lot of time and effort in your videos. Thank you. Is Wanda going to get the lip emoji back out? Maybe. Here we go. There's Weezer's comment. We'll read that one last. We got Sun, who could be a new channel or new to this channel at least. Shout out to Sun. Hello, Warlight Wrath. What a great opening video catch. I love frogs. That's good. Such an important environmental indicator species. The water must be very clean where you live. Well, it wasn't originally. So, like, during wintertime, I guess, was it November? No, it was probably January. I think it was during January going into February, because it was cold outside. The pond froze, layers of ice, sheets of it, and it was kind of hard to, make a hole in it. So basically all the frogs died within, and they just like decomposed, and it got very messy. There was a lot of mess within the pond, and the water wasn't clear, and then it had to be like dredged out, cleaned out, and all of that. And then there was like no frogs remaining. I think everyone died. And then got some like tablets. Okay, not the tablets Stoney takes. No. though she'd probably attempt putting one in the mouth. But these tablets that go into the pond and it like bubbles away, and I think it draws everything up to the surface, so all the shit that's down below, it cleanses it in a way, right? You had powder as well, and then you had the tablets which sink to the bottom. And with time, it seemed to help it. It was bubbling away, the water becoming a little bit clearer day by day. And then all of a sudden, frogs appeared in the pond. And it's like, whoa, where did they come from? Like, was it the tablets, the bubbles that attracted them? Maybe. But yeah, there's a couple of frogs now, as you saw in the last video. A lot of frogs jumping on top of one another. They won't let go. Some of the frogs getting very, very fat as well. Must be all the work they're putting in. And there's a lot of eggs all over the place. Yeah. Anyway, let's carry on reading. Theory on Dylan Rounds. What's this? I suspect if Brenner did it, it was over Dylan leaving the gate down, putting the only thing Jim cared for, his horse, at risk of getting loose and lost and dead. Brenner could not chase the horse down with his leg injury. I suspect he is buried close to the equipment used and where water could run on the farm to hide tracks and scent. It was a holiday, too many people moving around to risk moving a dead body far. Fair point. It would be a huge worry and stress on Brenner if Dylan let his horse out and his dog. Just my horse and gate theory. Thanks for sharing. So shout out to Son. I mean, yeah. Like, it makes sense. Let me know in the chat if you agree. Badger, great show. Stopped by Potato Con's show last night. Missed it. He had his rock and his hat, made a complete fool of himself again. I mean, I guess the only good thing Badger is at least he had his little yellow hard hat helmet. So there's a slight rock fall or a potato fall, they just bounce off the head and no damage is caused. But then maybe that was done at an earlier point without the helmet, but oh well. And, you know, just as a little tip, if the potatoes go a little bit saggy and droopy, okay, or like they get a bit soggy or dehydrated or something, dip the potatoes in the pond of Lucin. It'll absorb all the water. It's a 2-for-1 where you can dredge and cleanse the pond of any liquid and it'll be soaked up through the potatoes. And it'll also revitalise the potatoes full of toxins and dirt and muckiness, right? And then it can be spewed out elsewhere all over the place, right? So, yeah. Megs, I'm a hybrid. Actually, I'm just not good with the missing kid cases. I subscribed to you because I've seen potential in you from the first video I watched, and I was right. Australia koala kangaroo, yes, calm down, even though technically I'm Tasmanian, which probably makes us mostly English. So Megs is a Tasmanian devil, is that right? Tasmanian tiger, I don't even know at this point. But basically Megs is another viewer from Australia or nearby to Australia who has been around for many years when covering the Kenny Veach case. So she has been around for quite some time, okay? And in case if any of you are wondering who this person is. Yep. Meg says, Weezer has some excellent things to say in the chat. Yeah, it's when Weezer does leave comments, they're easy to follow and understand. Sometimes it might be a little bit long, but it's still easy to understand the language and wording, which is obviously a good and important thing. Okay, oh yeah, I read that comment, yeah. I didn't reply, but I did read that comment by Megs. Anders Erstian, what's this? You'd best be careful making public statements about unconvicted people being guilty of crimes, interfering with due process and the chance of a fair trial and all that. but one would have thought such a seasoned investigator as yourself would understand that. Maybe you're not. Perhaps you are just one of those impetuous humans. And maybe, perhaps, Anders Urson, you're just a dead-end channel with fuck all in content 9 months ago. Wow, that's pretty dead. The quality of the videos as well. And what's this? There's a pipe there, he's got a pipe here, he's got a pipe there. I think you need to lay off a few of them. I think it kind of altered your mindset and reality of things, because the reality is, if you bothered to be around to check my channel and how it's progressed in covering multiple different cases, the language has maintained, the wording, the consistency, the frequency, and the appropriateness of it. Just take this into mind, okay? I have questioned a range of different people in the case. I have questioned Candice Cooley, and whilst that could be considered a bad thing to an extent, it was done to maintain balance, and yet it was still acknowledged by people closer to Candice Cooley who acknowledged me for coverage on the case. So, because of the appropriateness of wording and how I structure stuff, it can be worked around, okay? Other people, though, go hard in, all in, and really do a witch hunt and use, like, what do you call it? Confident language when it's not exactly true. Okay? There's a difference between genuine questioning, genuine trying to understand, theorize, and then just point blank saying this and saying that in not so genuine ways, right? Anything else on this channel to highlight? Anything else? Channels, gap, source, whatever that is. It's also got a featured channel, Brisbane School of Iberian Swordmanship. Well, it looks like your learning and your practice of Iberian swordmanship has slightly gone south, maybe because you sat on the tip of that sword and that's what's making you whinge and whine very loud. Don't worry, if you pull it out, I'm sure it'll be okay. Anyway, oh, he's from Australia. Ooh. Crikey, mate. Sorry, mister. Should have been doing a fucking Australian accent right from the start. Don't worry, mate. Yeah, we've got Mama down under whining on in the background. Not seen her for a while. But don't worry, I'm sure the cats will drag the dog back in. But that aside, we've got a fucking Australian man right here. What a fucking disappointment, mate. I mean, you must be missing your foster rattler. Don't worry. We got a wrangler from time to time in chat. Shout out to Wrangler. Good individual. But this mate, calling me impetuous. Yeah, I think you completely missed the point. Crikey. What a fucking joker. What a fucking joker, man. Can't believe what's just been going on here, mate. And he's even got a video called Old Shack Goes Under. Oh my God, Shack Lady, you better watch out. The floods are coming. Kathy Waters has opened her floodgates. What a disaster, man. Okay, I've survived the waves of Linda gushing. My God, Kathy Waters. Deep, high-end waters, man. It's not even possible. And I said, the whip list continues. It needs to be used more, right? But, you know, when you got these important videos to do with Dylan Rounds and, you know, missing people cases, that does come first, of course. So, just one of those things. But yeah, this individual, it's a shame because in the past, before this prat, this knob, and before Mama Down Under, the success rate, at least from my experience, when it came to coming across Australian people, at least, it was 100% positive from day one, the day I was born, till now. I've not really come across that many Australian people, right? And it's only been online. But it's always been positive. They've not been toxic. They've not been resistant. It's been fine. And yet, in recent time, these odd few people have dragged down the reputation of Australia. What a disaster, mate. What about the fucking koalas? What about the kangaroos? What a shame. Even fucking Andrew Knock One Back Culver is doing a face palm right now. He's not even from Australia. Right on, mate. You know, Andrew Culver, I'm in a bit of a meltdown saying he's got no hair, mate. Not my fucking problem. You should fucking hire a kangaroo over. I'm sure the kangaroo will offer a little bit of fur for you. Don't worry.
It'll be all right. As some of the people last night in the chat, don't know if it was Linda, don't even know it was fucking Weezer, don't even know it was Midnight Blue. I don't even know who it is anymore, but people were saying, but you get some black coffee? Coffee? Well, I ain't tongue in American. I don't even fucking know, mate. You get fucking coffee, mate? Yeah, you drink coffee, grows lots of hair on your goddamn chest, man. Oh, I don't know. My God, Tara Pack and Go said she's been drinking a lot of black coffee and even Wes. I don't know what's been going on there. I don't know how much hair's grown, but I don't care. It's all right. Don't worry. So, Andrew Culver, don't you worry, mate. You listen to some of these people who are pure experts, drink a little bit more black coffee. I'm sure that will grow hair in the correct area. All under control. Don't even worry, mate. Don't even worry. Anyway, let's put that aside. Little language accent class. Return back to the comments to do with Dylan Rounds. Okay. Here we are. Just had to, have a little break there, absorb it all in. Megs, I keep an eye out on the news. That's all good. John Lammy. I don't know who John Lammy is, unless the username has changed, but I've heard of someone called Jammy, not Lammy. Is this a Scottish person? Unless the username has changed. Anyway, let's just read it. John says, sorry, I've been absent, Raf. I broke my leg and then I fell ill plus family problems, but I was still watching when I could. I don't want you to think I'm not interested in the channel anymore. I was just concentrating on getting better. Then I had family issues, but everything is better now because I've done my knee a few years ago, plus ankle problems. When the doctor tells you to think about stopping playing football, I fell into Russian football. Okay. They asked me if I'll take over the under-18s with my mates. I guess it's not all bad. But Mr. Round's family is who I feel sorry for, not being able to lay their son to rest. I hope the scumbag that killed him gets caught soon. So my weekend is sorted. I'll catch up with the videos I've missed. So I'll get up to speed where you are in the case. Keep up the great work, Raf. So shout out to John Lammy. I might have come across this person before in the past, but, to an extent, it's hard to remember everyone, if you get me. But shout out to John. It's good that he's got better. And John, if you need any random videos, whether it be the relaxing ones, there is an ASMR playlist on my channel. If you need any funny videos, there'll be playlist there as well, like the Chronicles of Jay Silverheels and then some of the bits and bobs in between. It'll be one of those where you probably watch them and think, what the hell am I looking at? But, it might help in some way. So it's all there on the channel. And, if other people want to watch those videos as well, you can do so. But yeah, there's John Lammy. Okay. Is that it? Oh, okay. So that was fairly quick. So that's it of the comments. Right, so putting those comments aside, we have transitioned onto the maps, the new one, the 2022 Imagery. When looking at it, the layout does look a little different, looks a little bit dodgy, and I think you can actually scribble on it or something, but we're not going to be scribbling today. Why are we currently at Jamaica? Yeah, we go to Jamaica, get you white boys, yeah man. Yo, fuck out, yeah white boy. We go to the United States. So I'm going to type it in because it will be quicker. Just get there. Okay, dodgy search bar. Okay, good start. Lucin. And I got to type in Utah as well because when I didn't do it last time, it went randomly. Add a marker. We don't really need to do that. So part of me thinks this could be, if for whatever reason Google Earth failed on me, this could be used in other videos down the line, but the image quality isn't as good, so that's the only issue. But if you can scribble on it, maybe you can make notes, but it's easier to do on the computer because you can use the mouse and it's a bit more accurate when adding points, but is what it is. We're in Lucin right now. You can see it takes a bit of time for it to load in and stuff. Seems to be named as well, which I don't think Google Earth was named. Like there it says Tacoma Road. I've never seen it marked like that before. I never knew that was Tacoma Road, I'll be honest with you. Okay, and it says Tacoma there, going over into the border, and you can actually follow that road. So, somewhere down Tacoma Road then. Interesting. We don't want to go too off. Can I flip the image or will it not allow me? Nope, it won't allow me, so we can't do that. That's unfortunate. Can I rotate? Nope, it won't let me rotate. What does that do? Oh, location denied. Naughty boy. Okay. Items, what does that do? Overlay. Oh, you can... Oh my god, what's all this? We don't really need to do that right now, but maybe it could come of use down the line. What I mainly want to do is just look at the areas we have looked at previous, you know, and see if there's a difference, if there's a change, okay? Because for all this time, I've been working with an outdated map, and in its own right, although not exactly practical, it just goes to show that you can get so much done and cover so much with outdated supplies. That's quite good. Where does it say as well, 2022? I thought it said in the bottom left corner last time. Oh well. It should load up. There we go. Okay. I mean, this is what I don't understand. Like with the Google Earth Pro, it was like saying in 2021, some satellite imagery. And yet that looked blurrier in comparison to the 2019 imagery. I don't know how with newer technology it ends up looking worse than in the past. Kind of like with the Kenny Beach case, the Mojave Desert in Nevada, Jomay Canyon. The 2013 image quality was significantly better looking in colour, sharpness, tone in comparison to the 2019-21 imagery. That really says a lot. Is there much to infer from here? Well, we can't do street view from the looks of it. Like the bars are there, still is where it is, not too much has changed. What about the dump area, like the rubbish dump? Montello Cemetery. Do you see how it seems to be all named, which is a lot easier? Because with Google Earth, only some stuff was named and then other stuff you had to physically type it in. And if you didn't know what to type in, then you wouldn't get anywhere. Now it'll be interesting to see, maybe not right off today, but in another video, the locations that were raised by Ty Corbin as high probability places where Dylan Rounds could be, like Rosebud Wash, and then I think someone said Aita Wash or something. We type them in, maybe it'll come up better. You got the Montello Cemetery down here. A fair size, not too many graves from what I can see looking down here, which in a way I guess is a positive if there's not too many. I believe that is the rubbish dump area where there's that turnaround. Seems to be some kind of small building there. Is it just like a bin collection point, or where you just put lots of trash bags and leave them out in the open? How does it exactly work? One of those vehicles, trucks comes along, one of those green trash ones, parks up by the side, collects all the rubbish, and then drives down to Wendover, the landfill or the dump recycling site down there, possibly. Any of the locals can explain, okay? So we don't really need to focus too much here, considering we have, seen it before and not too much has changed, even throughout time. You go back to the early 2000s, how it looks here is kind of like how it looked back then. It's not developed too much, like in comparison to like other places we've looked at, okay? What we can do though, and it might be a little bit tricky. Oh, what's all that? Okay, well, let's refer to that in a second. What we'll do is with this same 2022, we should be able to find Brenner's trailer, and I guess it should be burnt down. If I'm correct in saying it should be burnt down, right? So we can check that location of interest. We can also check out, obviously, Dylan's farm. as well as the grain shed property. Just see what vehicles are present, right? If you are suddenly joining right now, okay, feel free to rewind to the beginning of this video if you wish to. If not, what we're currently looking at is arguably the latest satellite imagery of the area of Montello and Lucin, 2022. Up to date to an extent in comparison to what we've previously been using, which was 2019 imagery. And we're just seeing what has changed. If there's anything of interest, right? I personally don't know what month this was recorded, documented, right? It's 2022, but I don't know what month, if it's before or after Dylan's disappearance. There's no harm in looking. People did say that they like these, so that's what we'll do. So in Montello, near Greyhound Road, I've never seen this before. Do any of the locals know what this is? It looks like some kind of race track, off-road racing. I've just never seen it before. But I guess from 2019 to 2022, a lot can change. I guess what we also need to do is check out the chop shop. No harm in doing that as well. Granted, I might not be able to find all the stuff today. Like with Google Earth, it was easier to find there because I already had markers or the image quality was a lot clearer, and you could actually rotate the screen, so that made it a bit more helpful. But we can still at least try this. Let's go closer to the border. Is it named Bald Eagle Mountain? Doesn't look like it, which is odd. You got that there, which is that, what do you call it? Like crate in the ground or something from the mining. Some more down there. It should be somewhere down here, but because it's at a weird angle. Let me just rotate my head. Hopefully the screen doesn't rotate. This is so dodgy the way I'm doing this, but don't know if I can find it or not. We got that mine there, right? Although it doesn't quite show. Yeah, and then you follow it down. Wait, how clear is it? How clear can it get? As you see, it's not the best, but you can make it out. And it's somewhere down here, right? Where's that shed as well? Where's that like abandoned shed? It's so hard to do this. Is it somewhere down there? Oh, hang on. Oh no, is it pixelated? Oh damn, that's a shame. Well, if you look middle of the screen, this is that barn, that abandoned looking barn, and it had like a fence around it on the side, as you see, that square area. So it looks like it's still in okay condition. Does anyone own it? I don't know. But this is one of the earlier locations I took a look at and was questioning, could Dylan Rounds have been hidden in there, chained up, captive, something like that. So basically, I've just got to follow this road going down, and then there's a turn off, isn't there? Got to follow Tunnel Spring Road. And then the trailer should be on the left-hand side somewhere. Well, that's the road which goes off. It goes up and round, and then it should go down into a ditch. There is the ditch, and Brenner's trailer should be right here. Ooh, what's going on here? 2022? What the hell's happened here? Do you know where that black spot is? That's exactly where Brenner's trailer was at least in the 2019 imagery. And yet looking at it here, it's just a black patch. Now, this could signify one of two things. Either it's been taken away if Brenner was on the go somewhere, or it's the fire damage, maybe both. But this is what I can't understand. Okay, the trailer burnt down about a year or two ago, such as talking like right now. And yet, despite it burning down, it was never taken away. Brenner's burnt down trailer still remains there in Montello, Nevada. So what's happened to this? Granted, it's blurry imagery, so there's that, but there just doesn't seem to be any outline or shape of a trailer. And yet, what we did see left behind was the outline or the bottom part of the trailer, the metal and everything. So it wouldn't have been taken away because it's still there to this day, as documented by Lance Kelly. But then again, maybe when you are looking at it from, up above, aerial view, looking down at the place, it's probably just not going to show the same way as like an actual solid structure. But there's just no indication of like a true object. That's weird, but that definitely is the spot of Brenner's trailer. Because do you know when you zoom out from here, you can see lots of dots all over the place, but that's vegetation, bushes, trees, as you can clearly see. So this, when you look at it zoomed out, looks like a bush, a tree itself, though this is the spot where Brenner's trailer's at. Because you can see that road leads right up to it as well. And yet not much remains. That is weird. And it's called Tunnel Springs Road. You turn off. Also what you can see is the ditch area. That is the ditch area, centre of the screen. What we saw 2019 imagery of Brenner's vehicle parked down there, because I think it was Ty Corbin that worded it. He couldn't get his vehicle up to his place anymore. Okay. So let me know your thoughts of this. Does that look odd to you? Can you make out any objects there? Because to me, it just looks like a black stain on the ground. And as we know, there are actual things there from what we've seen in Lance Kelly's video. And I'd see no need for them to take the trailer away and then return it back afterwards when it's pure scrap at this point. So a little bit weird how it shows visually on the screen, but that is Brenner's original trailer, the one that burnt down in Montello. Okay, let's move on. Should we just jump ahead and try the chop shop, if that's even possible? Ooh, what's happened here? Why is the colour changed? Right, what that makes me believe is you can't quite see on the screen, unfortunately, but at the bottom of the screen in the middle, it says Google Maps 2022. What happens when I zoom in? It's still 2022. Okay, maybe it's a different month. Because it's a different colour there, so it must be a different month. Right? We've seen that on Google Earth where there'd be patches stitched together. One looks very greenish, the other one looks bluish, and then one looks greyish. But the green one was 2013 imagery, blue one, a different year, and then the other one was 2019. Okay? It'll make sense to some people that. Maybe it's easier to locate as well if we're zoomed out like this. Just got to try and locate the chop shop. As said, it's a little bit difficult to find on the spot. So just hang with me for a second or so. Wouldn't there like a peak or a point somewhere? Oh man. Why has it not changed colour since? Oh, there we go. We've got to be looking for those like black hole-shaped things. Something to do with it being opposite a wash, so it was on this side somewhere. Actually, yeah, I've just realised that's one way we can find a possible chop shop if we just follow Dylan Rounds Road. What's going on here? I believe when I looked at the Chop Shop on Google Earth Pro 2021, it didn't exist. I could be wrong, but why is it so hard to find? Right, scrap that. We'll have to leave that one for now. Let's go to the grain shed area, okay? Ooh, I think we've gone quite far off all of a sudden. Ooh, that might be why. Pilot Valley. Yeah, that's the thing. With it all being almost the same colour, it's so much harder to locate the stuff. Whereas with the Google Earth, the brown parts, such as the wash, stood out clearer. Is that crop still there? The pivot, I mean. Not Dylan's, someone else's. Yep, still there. How come only a portion of it is that colour and then the rest isn't? Is that the only bit that has grown? Anyone know? Are those trailers still there? Yeah, you can kind of make them out. They've not really moved since 2019. What about that tractor that was parked up on the side? Not quite clear to see, but I believe that could be the tractor, almost in the same exact position from 2019. Weird. Is it not used? That still seems the same to me. I wonder the gate to the grain shed. Down here's the grain shed, right here, okay. Start from the bottom. What about sun tunnels? Where's that at? We've gone too far down. Little Pigeon Road. Shouldn't sun tunnels be there? I know that probably was the shortcut one. There we go. Oh yeah, it's also named as well, of course. So sun tunnels is right there, as you can see. Okay. No visitors at that moment, from the looks of it. At this crossroad, just right here, was the car that was parked up and two people stood by it. That was in 2019. And as you can clearly see here, there's no car, there's nothing. So that kind of proves that this is of a different time, in case you were wondering. So there are visible changes. But what we need to do is get closer to the grain shed and just see if anything's been added or removed since. And what about the gate as well? Where's the actual gate though? It should be here, shouldn't it? Is it visible to see? No. It was more visible on the 2019 map, Google Earth, because you had that black line going across, whereas here it's just not that clear, unfortunately. But it is where it is. Zoom out a bit, it takes forever. There we go. Quite clearly you can make out the objects here. So that should be the dirt mound, the burning pit, although it's not quite clear to see. The little dots above it must be maybe vegetation, weeds growing. Here you've got that yellow vehicle which flattens the ground down like the roller. Then you've got an RV trailer there, which I believe is Ed Harshberger's, that white one. Then, actually. Okay. Just wanted to confirm. That's the grain shed property right there, middle of the screen. Okay. Then, just before it, That box there, I believe, is the horse shed where Brenner stores his horse items, horse feed, hay, and all of that. Okay. And then just before it should be his trailer. And I'm guessing that could be it. Though that could be a vehicle. It's hard to tell. It is white though. And it's within distance. So that could be Brenner's trailer. I'm not 100% certain. What's that blue thing there in between? Oh, what's going on here? What is that? Oh, for fuck's sake, why are you doing that, you stupid twat? What is that blue thing in between the grain shed and that horse shed? Is it the Portaloo? Could be. The Portaloo was blue as well. The Portaloo, which we saw recorded when people went down there, Pancakes, Glorindale, and that was just outside of the grain shed entrance. So this is to the side of it, so I'm not quite sure it's the same thing. Maybe it is. Let me know your thoughts as well to what you think it is. On this side, you got basically just some tractors, equipment, as we've seen previous times. It's hard to make them out, but yeah. Up here, you got that tank there and something there, container. I believe there was one comment by someone previously stating that the tank that was at the grain shed was moved down to Dylan's farm. Is it the one on screen right now? I mean, I can't really do a comparison because this must be before it happened because there's still here. This tank or that one of them supposedly taken down to Dylan's farm. I mean, as we've seen, the imagery, like from the flyby of Dylan's farm, you could see one of those tanks that was in place. So that explains that, but I can't see it on the maps, unfortunately. So there's nothing too odd here. That white thing is the boat. Don't know why it's there, but that is a boat. Okay. That's that machine where it's got those arms that spread out to the sides on both sides. Okay. I think that's one of the big tractors. Is the gate visible on the other side? No, it's not. It's just like a turn off. Oh, I wonder about Lucin Pond and Don Hately's trailer. That should show up on here. Oh, which one do I do first? What about Lucin Airport as well? Where's Lucin Airport? Is it here? There you go. That should be Lucin Airport. Though there doesn't seem to be any planes. Maybe it was taken out on a flight at this moment. Looks a little bit different though. What's down here? Is that like a water tower? It's like it's fenced off. It looks like there's a vehicle down here. I wonder whose vehicle that is at the airport. There's two lots of vehicles. Whose is who? There's one Ivor's. Did he have a visitor? I don't know. That's kind of odd. Interesting. And then down here, what's all this? Kind of away from the airport of Lucin. What's down here? You got some objects. Are they planes? Plane wings? Hard to tell. Let me know your thoughts. Has this got anything to do with Lucin Airport, or is this someone's farm? Does anyone own this parcel of land? If you know, let me know. Hard to make out what it actually is. There's definitely some stuff there. Could be like a barn or a shed. I said not too far away from the runway of Lucin Airport, which is just there. Okay. Is it visible to see the wash on here? Yeah. This is the wash, middle of the screen. Can you see it? Okay, twist and turns. Because it's all kind of the same colour, it's a little bit tricky to follow, but I can see it. In the 2019 imagery, it was very brown. Okay, so it kind of stood out more. It was easier to follow. It goes all the way up here and back down here. Can you see it? Like the shape of it looks like a river. We need to try and find Lucin Pond. Let me zoom out a bit. There we go. Lucin Pond. Okay, so that... Okay, this is actually fairly clear. Wow. Okay. Look at the clearing there, though. Like, cars can drive around it. I don't remember it being that bare. And then here, where it's completely covered, that's where the pond is. But you can't see it because of the thick layer of vegetation, so the correct time of the season. But you get the idea of this is what it looks like before the pond was decimated in January time. Okay, so that's Lucin Pond. Does look very different. Obviously doesn't quite look like that now. But then what's that? Those two objects in the middle of the screen. When I zoom out a bit, it looks like maybe, I don't know, a car, some kind of vehicle, or is it a log? It's hard to tell. Interesting. Now, because I'm looking the wrong way, where's that mound? Oh, I don't think this is going to be possible. It's going to be hard because I used to flip the image for it. Oh, hold on. Where's that trailer of Don's at? I'm trying to look for similar patterns. It'd be great if I found it, but it's probably a bit difficult to do with this angling of it. Can I tilt my head? I don't know if tilting my head will do it. Let me look upside down for a second. Hold on. Oh, God. Right, I'm looking upside down. This is a bit weird, but I think it might work. It was right there. Somewhere around here. But I just don't see anything, unfortunately. So then the trailer can't be here. It's 2022. Just don't see any indication of a trailer here. Of Don's. That's annoying. That's really annoying, that. No, there's nothing stands out. As I said, if we had the coordinates, probably a lot easier. They just never came out. Never. So that's unfortunate. Shame. I just don't even see like any objects, that pop out. I mean, there's that there. Oh, and then it goes off. Like, is that a trailer centre of the screen, that little white dot? I don't know. Not quite clear. I just don't see anything parked up in this area, and I think this is the area of what I was looking at in the past. Damn. That is annoying, that. Well, we'll have to leave that one for now because I can't seem to find it. I mean, there's track marks that just randomly go off. Like, if I could just, like, follow the track mark somewhere, it could lead me to it, but don't think it's going to work. No, it's just not going to work. Right, we'll have to leave that. Oh. Let me look the correct way. I was looking upside down, so it got a bit weird. Right, let me recalibrate where I'm at for a second. Okay. I think it's time we take a look at Dylan's farm, right? There we go, sun tunnels. We followed this road, Little Pigeon Road, which cuts across. We need to follow Little Pigeon Road afterwards when it comes to finding the chop shop, because if you keep going down that way, you will get to it, okay? Well, what's happened to the colouring here? Is this been stitched together? Why is this like outline so different in colour? That's dodgy. And where's that pond? Right, that's that little pond area, I believe. Is it? Oh, it looks a bit dried up. It should be near Little Pigeon Mountain. Where's Little Pigeon Mountain gone? Little Pigeon Mountain is here. This lumpy stuff right in the middle of the screen. Can't quite fit it in. That's where the campers were. And it should be just down here. Down here. Yep. This is the little pond near Little Pigeon Mountain. Okay, center of the screen. Okay. All these, you see more dirt roads all of a sudden than in 2019. Lots of different shortcuts and everything. And right here, this is Dylan Round's farm. And you can clearly see that there are actually items here that weren't back in 2019. And that'll be for obvious reasons, I know, but we can actually finally see it. Dylan Round's farm and his equipment present. Is there anything missing though? Well, first of all, there is Dylan's trailer, that white thing in the middle of the screen. Though Dylan's truck is not present, nor is the grain truck, from the looks of it. And where's the second trailer at? Where's that at? There's only one here. That's the pond at Dylan's farm, okay? That's some of his equipment, tractors, I guess, trailers. Why is it all neatly uniformed as well? Considering the mess what we've seen it in previous footage. Well, later footage, but what we've looked at recently. Anything else going on here? Just look at the texture of the ground. Is that a pipe or is that the pivot? That long thing. It looks a bit wonky there. Is that the pivot point? Does anyone know? Kind of hard to tell. It doesn't have that circular look to it as the other stuff, what we've seen previous. There's a lot of faint track marks as well. What I've noticed. So there have been noticeable changes from what we've been looking at. Let me know your thoughts if anything does stand out here. If there's any objects, vehicles. From the looks of it, there is no backhoe. There's no backhoe present here in 2022, whatever month it was. Can't see anything yellow. Just one trailer as well. Let's go back to the grain shed property and see how many yellow vehicles present there. One. Is that it? There's nothing parked down the side, down here. So where is it then? There doesn't seem to be a backhoe present here. and there's no backhoe present at Dylan's farm. Maybe it just wasn't in use at the time and it was in Kurt's possession. Maybe? Anyone know? Missing equipment. What we might as well do now is try and go to that chop shop, okay? We've got to follow Little Pigeon Road, which comes all the way down here. Curves around. Shouldn't there be like a vehicle part here? Don't know. Like not there. And then there should be a dirt road which comes off down here. And we follow it if it shows. Oh, then where's it gone? Oh. Wait, what? Where's the chop shop gone? The chop shop can't just disappear because searchers went out there in 2022 and saw it. So where is it? Like, that's the end of the road, and then it kind of comes off down here. You can see those track marks. And then you just have to follow them down. Let me try again. Where did he actually end as well? Right, comes down here. Sorry about it, it's not loading, it's just being a bit silly. And then I kind of like lose focus of where the track mark's gone. Oh, there's one here. Right, and where now? Okay, down here. How far does it go? It should reach a point where it stops. Well, you can clearly see that road. And then it goes down here. That's a different colour. That's weird. That is weird, that. It just doesn't show. That's crazy. Where has the chop shop gone? Why can I not find it? What down here? What that is? Oh. Oh. Have I found the chop shop? What? Wait, what? Wait. What is going on? What the hell's that? The hell? Oh, was I following the wrong road or something? I don't know. That's so weird. Why does it seem like it's in a different location all of a sudden? I'm confused. I'm definitely confused right now. So I've accidentally found the chop shop right here. And from the looks of it, they've still got 2 trailers. They've got several cars lined up. Looks like they've expanded a little with vehicles present compared to 2019. So from 2019 to 2022, it's still there, the chop shop, and you can clearly see it here. Though it just looks like it's in a different position, based off the road I followed down. That's weird. There's just supposed to like a fence around it. It's hard to tell. Yeah. I mean, the ground as well, the colour of it is completely different to what we've seen previously. But yeah, there's the chop shop. If you've got any points about it, questions about this, list it down below. But I can't really zoom in anymore because then it ends up looking really blurry, It's not exactly practical. So you got to keep it zoomed out to an extent. So there you go. And what was that as well? Looks like a big mound or something, and all those holes. Kind of looks like my skin on my face. And yeah. So I'd say that's probably just about it for now, because we've looked at the key places and there's been noticeable changes, right? What about that brass shed? Oh, get that off. Where's that brass shed gone? Near to the grain shed. Don't know if that will show up or not. Oh, actually, I've just remembered. I forgot to read out Weezer's comment. Oh, shit. Apologies about that. We'll actually return to that in a second. That's important, that. How could I forget? Where's that gate? So somewhere around here, and then you turn off left. Ah, there it is. There's the brass shed, however you call it. So that's still there. That hasn't really changed much. You see the track marks leading down to it. Okay. Fair enough. Anything else? Maybe like one or two other things, but I don't know if we can like locate it literally on the spot. Okay, looks like I accidentally found it on the spot. This like mining area zone. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite show on the screen. Oh, there you go. Some action going on here. I guess, don't know if it still happens to this day or not. And then lower down should be that excavator. But don't know if it's going to show up or not. Maybe not. I think, was it there? Nope. Is it down here? Nope. Maybe that's the one thing that's no longer present, the excavator. That's odd. And then that container as well, which was just before it. Huh, weird. Oh. Don't remember seeing that. Maybe I've already gone past it. It could have been somewhere. No, it couldn't have been that. Oh. I found a container. There we go. Can't find the excavator, but I found a container still there from 2019 to 2022. And just below it, there seems to be a weird patchy area and a square box. Don't remember seeing that, so maybe it has been in use for something. Interesting. Okay. I think we'll probably leave it there for now. Oh, and we've changed colour as well. When it all starts looking the same colour, it messes with your eyes for sure. Wow. Okay. Let's just return back to Weezer's comment and see what important info she talks about. Right, here we are. Weezer, 11 hours ago, edited message. Quite a long one. Let's read. Weezer says, I'm so bummed out I missed the last part of your video. I guess she's referring to the analysis of Brenner, looking into him. I do want to clarify a couple of things. The person attacked in Montello 2021 by Brenner was not Bibbins. Okay. That's interesting. Can I ask a quick question? Why is it for so long it's always been referred to Bibbins or Bivins that was attacked? Several people on YouTube referred to him being the one attacked, and yet it was never cleared up. Weird. But it's good that Weezer has cleared it up here. Okay. Makes more sense because if it was Bibbins that was hurt by Brenner in the past. It wouldn't have made sense to why Bibbins also helped out Brenner when Brenner did his leg in, you know, depending if it aligns with one another or not. Anyway, let's carry on reading. Weezer says, I will use the kid's initials, BT. Not the broadband, but the person's name's called BT. Weezer, can you confirm that BT was around 69 years old back in 2021? Is that correct? Because that's how it's been worded in all the news articles in the past and, you know, coverage of the case. Anyway, Brenner had him on the ground in front of Montello gas station. BT is less than 5 foot tall. Wow. A concerned citizen pulled Brenner off of him, which resulted in the broken ankle. Okay. BT called LE and filed a report. By the time LE responded, Brenner had packed his bags and moved to Lucin. Local LE tried numerous times to reach Brenner regarding the attack, but he had crossed state lines and their hands were tied. So is that one of the catalysts which led to Brenner leaving the area because of that aggravated assault on BT? Okay. Interesting. And you said that he did his ankle in as well when that passerby pulled him off. That person that pulled him off, I can't remember the person's name, but it was mentioned on Quinton's timeline. Okay? And I believe after that, correct me if I'm wrong, Weezer, but after Brenner did his leg in at that moment, that aggravated assault in Montello, that Brenner in a way thanked that guy for pulling him off because then he could claim disability allowance because he was injured. That's how it's been worded by people. Less than 5 foot tall. Hey, look, Indiana. Looks like you got some competition now. Anyway. Let's read it one more time just to take it all in. Brenner had him on the ground in front of Montello gas station, I assume kicking him in the stomach and head, as it's been worded in the court documents. Concerned citizen of the area pulled Brenner off, resulted in the broken ankle. That must have been awkward, that. Like breaking an ankle just from being restrained. Awkward. BT called Ellie and filed a report, but by the time they responded, Brenner had packed his bags and moved to Lucin. So it just goes to show that, well, no, not quite, because Brenner didn't move anywhere when it came to Dillon Rounds. I was just going to say, is there a pattern where Brenner's committed a crime and then fled the area across state lines or not? Seems to apply here, but not with the other cases, so not much consistency there. But I guess he also left as well because after all that commotion and the people witnessing it, Brenner was probably like, oh God, you know, what's the point sticking around? Already got a bad reputation. People are just going to be angry with me. And then finds out, here's about Don being in Lucin. Seems like a win-win, right? Get closer to your friend. Become a neighbour in Lucin, away from it all. Oops. Stupid twat knocking the tripod. Let's carry on reading. Weezer says Bibbins is the person in Utah that Brenner attacked. What? Oh, is this another one? Hold on. The person attacked in Montello was BT. Bibbins was attacked in Utah. Okay. 2 different places, of course. Montello, Nevada, Utah. Okay. Bibbins told me that Brenner sucker punched him in the jaw and then hit him with a metal chair. Oh.
So, was this in 2021? Right. Quick question, Weezer. The aggravated assault in 2021, what Brenner's been charged with it pending and going on over into the next year, tying in with the Dylan Rounds case and those federal charges, the gun charges and all that. Was that 2021 aggravated assault to do with BT filing that report to the LE? And then this one here about Bibbins in Utah getting attacked. That's something completely different. Because if so, it seems like with time, humans have got it mixed up, associating Bibbins being the 69-year-old getting attacked with the lawn chair and tying it in with the Montello attack of that BT guy, associating it all to one person and one event. Yeah, I think things have got very mixed up over time from the looks of things. Though I'm trying to see and think, when I looked at those court documents in the past, I'm sure it said Brenner hit a 69-year-old with a lawn chair and kicked him repeatedly in the stomach and head. And as you've worded here, Bibbins was sucker punched and also hit with a lawn chair. Yet, how can it be of the same thing when this isn't to do with the 2021 aggravated assault? If that's to do with BT and Montello. That is so confusing. Can anyone clear it up? Anyway, Weezer says, I never have asked Bibbins what started that. When I've tried to question Bibbins on Dylan, discreetly, Bibbins has mentioned that he used to take Brenner shopping in various places. I assume because of Brenner's injury. Burley, Elko and Wendover. Brenner always wanted a free way and never offered to pay for fuel or meals. Oh, I see. Bibbins also told me that Brenner told him he wanted to kill Dylan. Okay, well, once again, Brenner issuing those threats out, no surprise. Now, this bit here about Bibbins overhearing Brenner talking about killing Dylan. I have heard this before in the Heavy D interview with Candice Cooley and Justin Rounds months ago inside the grain shed in Lucin, Utah. And it's when Justin brought it up about Bibbins told him, Justin, about Brenner wanting to kill Dylan. But then Candice Cooley cut the conversation off and said, yeah, well, we don't really trust it. We don't really believe that was actually said. You know, Bibbins is a bit of a petty guy with a bit of a, grudge or something against Brenner. Does anyone remember that? I do. So I wonder why Candice Cooley was shrugging that off. Weird. So, anything else? Weezer goes on to say, when I prodded him further on where Brenner could hide Dylan, his answer was, check Grouse Creek Wash, a place near Lucin that has cars full of bullet holes. Or he would chop him up and scatter him across the desert. Any truth to it? I have no idea, but that is directly from Bibbins. These conversations were back in July/early August. Okay, in the early days. That's good. Bibbins has a long rap sheet also. What do you believe? Bibbins drives what I call the kidnapping van. The white van with no back windows. He too could have hauled Dylan to parts unknown. Possibly. Now, maybe there's no correlation here, and I can't remember the actual year, but Weezer, when I did a previous street view footage of Lucin with the 360-degree photo imagery on Google Earth, somewhere in Lucin on one of the main pathways, there was two hikers who must have been camping in the area, and when looking about in the distance across the field, I don't know what direction, there was a white van with no windows at the back. So is that Bibbins or not? Or is it just a coincidence? Because it looked a bit like a dodgy van, but what's that doing there in Lucin at that time, which is unrelated to, I guess, Dylan's disappearance? I don't know. So Bibbins, what is Bibbins from Montello? Lives there, right?
Some interesting points here. I don't know if I'll have to refer back to Weezer's comment and maybe apply it on the maps at some point. We might have to. I mean, the bit about cutting Dylan up into pieces, I remember that being mentioned in the past by those like psychics. So who got what from where? Did the psychics come out with it first, and then Bibbins heard of that and then decided to roll with that story? Just like how Kurt Wadsworth rolled with the psychic readings by someone that Dylan was held hostage in Montello, Nevada by Venstra and Aviles. There's a possibility, right? You can get influenced by what other people say. If it suits your idea, your narrative, then you make use of it. Anyway, anything else to read? Bibbins drives, okay. He too could have hauled it to somewhere, you never know. Weezer goes on to say, another interesting thing. Today, I was talking to the gentleman that had all his guns stolen here near Montello by Chase Venstra. Box Elder still has all of his guns, although one is still unaccounted for. Although the guns are mostly what is talked about, he also had ammo, camo, clothing, and miscellaneous items taken from his home. In some of Salty Pancake's videos, the guy has been able to identify some of his things that were videoed at some of Chase's hiding spots. Oh, okay. I did do a video analysis of that, Weezer. If I can get a hold of it, I'll share with you the video clip. Oh, wow. Does this mean we've got more Dylan Rounds videos to cover? Oh, no. We'll definitely have to archive and keep in mind this comment by Weezer. I'll probably even do like a screen recording of it so I can always refer back to it. Wow. Or it's probably better taking screenshots and then like just keep it somewhere very safe. I mean, we looked at Chase Venstra's homestead. You had that cardboard box that was buried in the ground, and then Kurt Wadsworth and Salty Pancakes were hovering around it and dug it up, and there was like cloth covering it as well. And then in that cardboard box there was lots of cables, jump starters maybe, and 7 point something Winchester rounds. There was that. And then right at the homestead, you had those dogs that were kind of like buried in the hole. You had lots of loose ammunition scattered around the trailer area. You had a pair of like cowboy boots or something in a box. That's what I noticed at least. Then you had lawnmowers, electrical pieces and stuff just scattered around in the area. Wow. Let's just read it once again. So this is most recent Weezer talking to the guy where Chase Venstra stole his items. Now, Chase Venstra has stolen stuff before, so that's not unusual, right? And does this have anything to do with Chase being done for possession of firearms? These firearms must be. But one of the firearms, at least, which isn't in the police's hands, is unaccounted for. A little bit mysterious, right? Maybe that one firearm was buried somewhere. So this is where the little mystery is. Although Chase isn't directly associated in the Dylan Rounds case, a gun missing. And then like with Brenner, one of his guns is missing as well. Where are these loose guns gone? Buried? Taken by someone else? I'm not sure. Ammunition taken as well, I understand. Camo clothing. Why would you steal camo clothing? What does Chase Venstra want to do with that? And some of Salty's videos, the guy had been able to identify some of his things. So has this guy reached out to Salty Pancakes, or did he just secretly watch Salty Pancakes videos in the background and relayed it back to you, Weezer? I mean, we've got to be very careful here because, those people that could start interrogating Weezer. So everyone in the chat right now, just be aware, and not in a silly way, not in an impetuous way, not in an ultra defensive way, but just it sounds so silly when wording this, but protect Weezer, okay? Okay. better way of putting it across to people in the chat, all the kitty cats, okay? The kitty cats in the chat, keep your eyes on Weezer so she doesn't get interrogated, okay? That'll make more sense, put it that way. Okay. Weezer says, one interesting thing to note is that this guy has identified the black tote with the yellow lid in the grain shed as being one of his. How did it get from Montello to the grain shed? Interestingly, the black tote was also one of the items that was taken out of the grain shed at the same time a whole truckload was hauled out. The owner pointed that out to me, so thankfully I'm not the only one that caught that. Okay, so I guess that assumption that Chase Venstra may have been at the grain shed property at some point, maybe before Dylan Round's disappearance, you'd think. But why? I mean, let's not forget Lance Kelly. When Lance Kelly went down to Brenner's burnt down trailer property in Montello, Nevada, months ago now, Lance Kelly pointed out that there was like a collection of wood or poles stacked on top of one another, saying that, oh, Chase Venstra brought these down here to Brenner. Why? No clue, no idea. Chase Venstra, Brenner, are they friends? Not from what I know of. So I don't know what was going on there. And just very quickly, because I don't really know what the wording is, what is a tote? A bucket or something else? I've heard of a yellow bucket being mentioned in the past, but that seemed to go over people's shoulders like they've never heard of it before, but it was mentioned maybe by Pancakes in the earlier days. So I don't know if that what's meant there. A black tote with yellow lid. I'd assume that's a bucket. Wait, in the grain shed? Wait, oh, I did see that black object on the bookshelf at the back inside of the grain shed. Okay, after this comment we've read out, we'll just briefly look at the grain shed image inside. And if you're there, Weezer, if you're able to, just point out where that black tote with the yellow lid was at, okay? Maybe it might have shown up, or the spot at least where it once was, okay? And that item at a later point was taken out. With a whole truck load was hauled out. That truck hauling it out, is that tying in line what Tom Evans said about on the 28th of May 2022, where some witnesses in the area saw the truck leaving the grain shed property? Is that true? Or are they two separate things? Just see if we can tie it all together at least. Points to ponder. Okay. Weezer goes on to say, and one other thing I will toss in the mix. Don Hately was working the pivot just north of the tracks and grain shed last summer. Oh, okay. So what Weezer is referring to, if I'm correct in saying myself, you remember that pivot, what we looked at earlier on in today's video when we're on that map? We went to that clear designated pivot spot north of the grain shed, and we saw that the trailers were still there. The tractor, that seemed like it was in the same exact position as it was in 2019. You remember what I'm talking about now? The one what we looked at in the past as well, and I first thought was that Dylan's, and then I was corrected that it wasn't. That's the one. So Don Hately was working on that pivot. Interesting. Last summer as well. It says, everyone at first thought that was Dylan's pivot. Okay, so I'm not the only one. And not too far from Ivor Zadowski, Lucin Airport. Okay, so we're talking about the same area. That's good, we're on the same page. Weezer says, the person that owned that pivot planted several different types of seed to see if any would grow due to the high salt in the water. Okay. In the past, nothing has really worked because once the crop starts growing, the salt dries on the leaves and kills it all. The owner of that property was out just a couple of weeks before Dylan disappeared. Okay. He brought several different types of seeds to test and left Don in charge of taking care of it. Before Don disappeared in, I think, August, okay, I asked him if any of the seed had grown. He said no, it all had died. I think that pivot also needs to be checked thoroughly because it is right across the tracks from where the horse prints were at. True. You know, if people believe that Dylan was transported on the horse up to that point, then maybe was taken to that pivot and buried underneath. Could that explain why the seeds and the crops died? Because it was disturbed? Who knows? That is where Don spent a lot of the summer. I have brought that to the attention of Candice Cooley and have basically been blown off. That's not good. The property owner has said, check the property. He has no issues with that. He lives out of state. Sadly, he has been diagnosed with brain cancer and has a very short time left. Oh, he had since ended up selling the property, but I know the new owners and they would have absolutely no problem with LE searching it. Okay. Sorry, Warlight Raf, I edited a couple of times because I thought of something to add. I didn't mean to be long-winded. No, it's to be honest, it's actually very clear to follow and understand, and you've bullet pointed it and you've added in commas as well, so you can take pauses and breathe. The way Weezer has structured this is very good. Okay, I was able to read through it, understand most of it at least, and refer back. I guess the only bit that I might have been a little bit confused on was Bibbins being attacked by Brenner, sucker punched and attacked with the lawn chair in Utah, and then BT in Montello. Because the way it was worded in the court documents, it was worded as if the method of attack, which you said Bibbins received at the hands of Brenner, was in the documents associated with BT in Montello, the 2021 aggravated assault. That's the weird crossover I don't quite understand. I don't know if the court documents have got it mixed up or something else, but if it can be fixed, that's all good. Anyway, Tom Evans, Joseph Lloyd, maybe that answered a couple of questions for you, probably gave you more. I will add a quick PS, because I know Raf loves the long drawn-out comments. Oh yes, I do. Before Dylan disappeared, Bibbins rarely passed through Montello. Just after Dylan disappeared, Bibbins passed through at least 4 times a week. Where was he going? Wendover is much closer, going the back way from Lucin, south. Yes, it is, correct. Instead of coming all the way through Montello. Most of the time he would come back through, headed to Lucin within 3 or 4 hours. This has gone on all summer straight through to December. Changes in routine. Wow. I mean, okay. Brenner's been charged. Okay. The evidence points to him. And yet all this other bitty stuff in the background. Now, granted, fair portion of this may have been talked about here and there on other channels through the months, but the way it's been worded here is a lot clearer and summarised as well. So, what I'm thinking is, and I'll do a poll right now, based off this comment by Weezer, would you like to see more discussion, map, storytelling, analysis videos of these events and stuff that may have gone on here and there? Yes, if you want to. No, if it's unnecessary, and we'll just see where we are from there, because it's kind of crazy this how, as I was saying at the start of this video, it was almost the end of the Dylan Rounds case as for coverage, and then this comment pops up by Weezer. Crazy how I literally said earlier on in this video that you don't know what will happen the next time, something might suddenly show up, and we've got all this here to try and make sense of. And as I said, if we do look at this stuff, whether it be a long video live premiere or even a 10-20 minute video live premiere, it will be done in the format of dissections, dissecting it all, okay, and maybe piecing it together at a later point. Because yes, I know Brenner has been charged, but with Candice Cooley recently re-emerging with the possible idea that others are involved, which is a change by her considering her being focused on Brenner all this time, it just once again opens up the possibility of other mysteries and unsolved stuff going on with people and behaviours, right? I think this case is deep to an extent, right? I feel that there could be a lot of mystery in some areas which turn out to be nothing associated with Dylan, but I do think that there are some sections where it could, to an extent, apply to Dylan just before or during the process, 28th or shortly after, the following days. Okay, very interested in this. Anything else? Did I miss out anything? No, it doesn't look like it. What are the responses, then? I hope it's not more. Badger. Interesting, thank you for sharing. That tub could be very important if filled with acid. Yeah. Oh, Patsy. Oh, Patsy, already on it. Grouse Creek map analysis. Wow. Patsy's coming out with the video ideas before I even have myself. Oh. I mean, technically, we have looked at Grouse Creek, but we've not done a dedicated video to the location, right? There was the odd photo uploaded by someone at Grouse Creek too. So, you know, stuff like this, Grouse Creek map analysis, the wash as well, that's basically within the area that trickles down to Lucin. We can always take a look back at these areas, because the one thing that can be excused is the fact that when it came to Kenny Veach, we were just looking at one singular area, really, and constantly going back to it over and over again, and yet it was still fresh, right? And still of interest. So in the Dylan Rounds case, the same can apply there. Wow. I mean, I might not be able to do videos bang, 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 one after another. I might have to think it through so I don't fuck things up. But it looks like there are more videos to cover on the case. And you know, it'd be one of those things where if we've got this focus point, and then at some point you probably get the Find Dylan Rounds Facebook post announcements there, if there is any, or any more additional interviews or articles out there to keep a lookout for and analyse if necessary. Yeah, not bad. I mean, because of the absence of that forum now, because we've completed it, it's kind of gone a bit quieter there, but we've got things to fill in between, whether it be just to simply keep the case alive and to spread awareness, or to make sense of all these other little bitty events that have occurred. That's what we can do. Well, it says, Patsy, back in June 2022 on Google Maps, or maybe Earth, I can't remember which shows the most recent time period, on the property north of Dylan's, you could see a backhoe had been left out in the pivot. It looked red in colour or dark in colour. I also thought that was Dylan's farm until I believe I saw my first Wallite Raft map analysis. Okay. You're saying back in June 2022 on Google Maps. Oh, okay. Okay. I assume Google Maps being 2019 satellite imagery. Patsy, let me know what you think of today's video. More so to do with the maps of 2022 in comparison to 2019. Shit, I'll have to open my notepad on the phone to bullet point all these videos, because I also said about doing that before and after of the maps of the areas. Wow. Maybe the odd video can be very short, so we don't overload things. That's probably necessary. Ty Corbin, I went to the pivot that CR and it is overgrown with Russian thistle, but I agree it needs to be searched by professionals. So I assume Ty Corbin is talking about that pivot north of the grain shed. Okay. Yeah, understandable. So it looks like Ty Corbin's in agreement. He's not shown any resistance or counted any points. That's good. You know, the more people that agree and are in consensus but independently think upon themselves, first of all, then it just strengthens and reinforces the points. It's just that everywhere else over time in the past and other channels, some said this, others said that, but there was no common ground, there was no true agreement, so it just made things a little bit unstable and hard to follow, though I think to an extent we're bringing back the stability in the Dylan Rounds case here on this channel, right? And also lastly, as I said, just to return back to this regarding that black tote with the yellow lid, if that's the correct order of things, Weezer, you said that was supposedly found inside of the grain shed. Whereabout exactly? Does it show on here, like in shot, or do you remember the position of where it was found? In the back corner, just right at the back on one of the shelves, or was it hidden? It's not the best photo, I'll admit, but you know, if we can do a focused video down the line looking into it, then maybe we can, you know, get better angles. I'm sure we can, right? The only thing I noticed in the past was, as I said, you got that bookshelf, middle section of the bookshelf, bookcase, you got a white object, and right next to it seems to be a black shaped object. Fast forward months later to when Justin went to the same place, mid-section of the bookshelf, white object, and right next to it, that black shaped object is no longer there. But I feel that probably hasn't got anything to do with what Weezer is talking about due to the timing of it. This is later than I think what Weezer was referring to, which was earlier. But, you know, she's trying to make sense of the spot where that item was placed by maybe Chase Venstra. So if you know the exact spot or area, Weezer, just feel free to maybe point it out in the comment section. And yeah, it's good of Weezer to share what she's said. That does help make sense of things and provides a backstory to maybe stuff we've briefly heard of over time, heard bits of it, or Chinese whispers. Maybe bring it all together, right? So, seems like there's unfinished business overall. Hopefully you were able to learn something new in this video. Let me know your thoughts, and especially about that map imagery of 2022. If anything odd stood out, provide timestamps down below of my video if you did notice anything that was present or missing. Take in mind, I believe that satellite imagery is probably before Dylan went missing. It didn't say the month, unfortunately, but I'd assume it's before Dylan went missing. Though, if it was literally around the time he did, but it was in the early stages, then that would explain why the trailer's there. But then again, we've got to realise there was only one trailer there, so maybe the other trailer was elsewhere when Dylan was moving about. Maybe. Okay, it's kind of hard to tell, but we definitely saw that Brenner's trailer in Montello looked like it was burnt down, but why the weird black marking? Maybe the blurriness made it hard to actually see the scrap that remained, and with it being flatter down, doesn't stand out as much as if it was a 3D object which cast shadows. So I can understand it from that point of view. We looked at all the key locations today, I would say, what we've looked at in the past, and I'm just glad I was able to find all of those things on command without markers, prompts. So you can kind of learn as you go along the way, not just the case itself and the information and the dates, but the actual location and environment. And it just goes to show that you don't even have to be in the area to kind of visualize it and develop some kind of memory of locations, right? So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see what happens next. We'll see what video is best to cover next, of course, whether we go light or we go heavy, or there's some additional external stuff going on, like news. We'll just see, okay? But there will be a few more videos to come from the looks of it on the Dylan Rounds case. So I know some people will like that, okay? So we'll leave it there for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. For now, goodbye and good night.